Taichung Mayor spurns Eric Chu's call to succeed him as KMT chair.
Taichung Mayor Liu Xiaoyan says she will not run in the upcoming KMT leadership election because she needs to be in Taichung when the city needs her most to deal with American tariffs on Taiwan-made goods. Liu has described Washington's baseline 20% tariff on goods made in Taiwan a tsunami for the country and said Taichung is expected to be hard hit. The mayor said the city's economy is deteriorating as a result, and she said she would stand by Taichung's businesses and citizens through the expected hardships ahead. Liu was responding to KMT chairman Eric Chu's call for her to succeed him at the party's leadership elections, which are currently scheduled to take place on October 18th. Candidate registration opens early next month. Chu has already said he has no intention to seek re-election. DPP caucus leader Ke Chen-ming refuses to step down despite recall.
DPP caucus leader Ke Chen-ming refuses to step down despite recall failure.
DPP legislative chief convener Ke Chen-ming has dismissed calls for him to step down after the last of 7 recall votes targeting KMT lawmakers failed to pass this weekend. Ke was one of the most vocal supporters of the recalls. He had even claimed he would seek the post of legislative speaker when they were successful. Ke's refusal to step down comes after DPP Legislative Caucus Whip Wu So-yao and Caucus Secretary General Chen Pei-yu both said they will now step down from their posts to take responsibility for the failed recalls. Wu had taken to social media to say the ruling team must reflect internally and implement tangible changes that meet public expectations after failing to remove any of the 31 KMT lawmakers targeted in the 2-stage recall votes. Wu also said the DPP Legislative Caucus needs to expand participation, restructure its team, improve internal coordination, and strengthen external communication. DPP Deputy Caucus Secretary Generals Lin Yue-chin and Kuo Yu-ching also made similar announcements over their plans to step down. Scholars say referendum result shows need for more diverse energy mix.
Scholars say referendum result shows need for more diverse energy mix.
Observers say the result of Saturday's referendum on restarting the Manshan nuclear power plant show nuclear energy remains a divisive issue and highlights the need for a more diverse energy mix. Election officials said 74% of the total number of people who cast ballots in the referendum were in favor of the motion, while 26% were against. But the number of affirmative votes fell short of the 25% of eligible voters required for the referendum to pass. Journalist Brian Heo believes those divisions over nuclear energy exist within the DPP as well. That was journalist Brian Heo. Taiwan-based American influencer arrested and released over trespassing.
Taiwan-based American influencer arrested and released over trespassing.
An American social media personality has been released a day after he was arrested in Taipei for trespassing in Yangmei train station, Taoyuan, in January of this year. Jacob Pugmire was taken into custody by officers at New Taipei's Tam Sui Police Precinct on Friday over an outstanding warrant. Pugmire is reportedly living in Taiwan as a modeling content creator and fitness entrepreneur. He was accused of trespassing when he entered Yangmei train station while on an around-the-island walk earlier this year. He claimed he was told by netizens it was okay to rest at the station overnight, even if it was closed. The Yangmei station master later filed a lawsuit against him for trespassing. A court date for the case was set for earlier this month, and a warrant was issued for his arrest after he failed to show up for his hearing. Pugmire claims he was not informed about it. He is facing charges of violating Article 306 of the Criminal Code and could be imprisoned for up to 1 year or fined up to 9,000 NT. Honhai Mitsubishi Fuso to jointly develop Z buses.
Honhai Mitsubishi Fuso to jointly develop ZEV buses.
Honhai has signed a memorandum of understanding with Japan-based automaker Mitsubishi Fuso Truck and Bus Corporation to jointly develop zero-emission buses. The move comes as Honhai steps up its push into the electric vehicle market. The agreement sees Honhai collaborate with Mitsubishi Fuso through their respective subsidiaries on the development of ZEV buses. Their cooperation kicks off with Foxtron-developed prototypes Model T and Model U. Honhai says the partnership aims to accelerate clean mobility for the Japanese commercial vehicle powerhouse and the world's largest electronics manufacturer. Honhai earlier this year signed a deal with Mitsubishi Motors to allow the Taiwan carmaker to develop and supply an electric vehicle model to its Japanese partner on an original equipment manufacturer basis. 19 rescued by Coast Guard after yacht breaks down near Ryukyu Island.
19 rescued by Coast Guard after yacht breaks down near Ryukyu Island.
19 people have been rescued after the yacht they were on suffered mechanical failure near Ryukyu Island. The Coast Guard administration said the vessel was carrying 2 crew members and 17 passengers when it lost power about 1 nautical mile north of the small island. The Coast Guard sent 2 patrol boats to the yacht, and all 17 passengers were rescued and taken to Pingtung County's Donggang Township. The yacht, operating on only 1 engine, was then escorted back to port for repairs. 39.1 degrees C heat recorded in New Taipei's Sansha district.
39.1 degrees Celsius heat recorded in New Taipei's Sansha district.
And the Central Weather Administration recorded a temperature of 39.1 degrees in New Taipei's Sanxia district on Sunday afternoon. The high was recorded at 3:10 p.m. and was Sunday's highest island-wide. It was followed by 38.1 degrees in Taipei's Neihu district and 38 degrees in New Taipei's Wugu district. Several areas in Greater Taipei and Taoyuan also recorded temperatures of over 37 degrees on Sunday. The Weather Administration is forecasting more hot weather across Taiwan today, and heat alerts are in effect from some areas. Orange heat warnings have been issued for Taipei, New Taipei, and Taoyuan, where the mercury could reach a daily maximum high of 38 degrees. Orange heat alerts are also in effect for Taichung, Changhua, Nantou, Yunlin, Chiayi, Tainan, Kaohsiung, and Pingtung, where the daily maximum temperature is expected to hit 36 degrees for 3 consecutive days. While yellow heat warnings have been issued for Hsinchu County and Miaoli, where the daily maximum temperature is forecast to reach 36 degrees today. Canada doesn't rule out peacekeepers.
Canada doesn't rule out peacekeepers.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that he backed Ukraine's calls for robust security guarantees as part of any peace deal. He added Canada would not rule out sending troops under such a framework. Carney made his comments during his first visit to Ukraine since taking office in March. He joined Zelensky for a ceremony in central Kyiv to mark Ukrainian Independence Day. Zelensky has said he wants future security guarantees as part of a potential peace deal to be as close as possible to NATO's Article 5. Russia has said any guarantors needed to be non-aligned with any military bloc. France summons U.S. ambassador.
France summons U.S. ambassador.
France has summoned the American ambassador Charles Kushner after he wrote a letter to French President Emmanuel Macron alleging France had failed to do enough to stem anti-Semitic violence. In the letter, Kushner urged French President Emmanuel Macron to more urgently enforce hate crime laws and tone down criticism of Israel, saying French government statements about recognizing a Palestinian state have fueled anti-Semitic incidents in France. The French Foreign Ministry called the ambassador's allegations unacceptable, adding Kushner would be due to appear on Monday. Kushner's son is married to U.S. President Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka. Texas Senate approves gerrymandered congressional voting map.
Taichung mayor, no plans to run for KMT chair.
In news from and about Taiwan this morning, Taichung Mayor Liu Xiaoyan says she will not run in the upcoming KMT leadership election because she needs to be in Taichung when the city needs her most to deal with American tariffs on Taiwan-made goods. According to Liu, the city's economy is deteriorating due to the tariff tsunami, and as a result of that, she will stand on guard and be with the city's businesses and citizens through the expected hardships ahead. Liu's comments were in response to KMT chairman Eric Chu's voicing his support for her to succeed him, following the failure of any of this past weekend's recalls targeting KMT lawmakers to pass. The KMT is set to elect its leadership election on October 18th. SEMI boasts largest semicon Taiwan to open in September.
SEMI boasts largest semicon Taiwan to open in September.
The annual semiconductor exhibition, Semicon Taiwan, will formally open in Taipei in September, and organizers say it will be one of the largest ever. According to Semiconductor Equipment and Materials International, this year's exhibition will be bringing together over 1,200 leading semiconductor and technology companies, with more than 4,100 booths and an expected attendance of over 100,000 industry professionals, making it one of the most influential semiconductor events in the world. Semicon Taiwan 2025 will be taking place from September 10 to 12 at the Taipei Nangang Exhibition Center. The Taiwan External Trade Development Council says the show will also feature more than 200 tech leaders from around the world who will head 25 conferences during the expo, which is also celebrating its 30th anniversary since the inaugural show in 1996. Taichung Mayor spurns Eric Chu's call to succeed him as KMT chair.
Ho Yo-yi on KMT chairmanship.
New Taipei City Mayor Ho Yu-yi says he's never considered running for the KMT chairmanship after the mayor of Taichung turned down the position. Current KMT chair Zhu Li-lun over the weekend said that he would step down and called for Taichung Mayor Lu Xiu-yan to run for the position. Lu declined, saying that she needs to be in the city to manage crises like the effects of U.S. tariffs. With Lu apparently out of the race, Hao Yu-yi appears to be another heavyweight suited to take on the role. But he told reporters today that he had never considered running for the position and added that he fully supported whoever did become chair. The KMT chairmanship election is set to be held mid-October, with registration scheduled for early next month.
Tainan electric buses to make up quarter of fleet by end of September.
Tainan City is adding 10 new electric buses to its fleet, with plans for electric buses to make up a quarter of their fleet by the end of next month. The new Foxtron Model T buses will hit the road in September. City transit officials say that Mayor Huang Weijie wants the city to work towards cutting carbon emissions and plans to have all city buses electric by 2030 in accordance with central government policy. They also say that this batch of buses now gives the city a total of 125 electric buses, over 1/4 of all city buses. Officials are also carrying out safety drills before the buses are open to carry passengers next month.
Thousands march in Gaza protests across Australia, demanding action.
Now turning to international news. In Australia, tens of thousands of people have marched through cities demanding action to save dying and starving Palestinians. Peaceful rallies took place yesterday in Sydney, Melbourne, and other cities, urging sanctions on Israel and an end to Australia's arms trade with the country. Police estimated about 10,000 people took part, while organizers claimed 100,000 marched in Sydney alone. They put the total figure at 300,000 across the nation. In Melbourne, protesters gathered outside Victoria's State Library chanting for sanctions. The protests followed a report on Friday stating that Gaza's largest city is gripped by famine. The report warned of catastrophic hunger levels, with many at risk of dying from malnutrition-related causes.
Venezuela releases prisoners jailed in government crackdown.
Venezuelan opposition leaders and civil society groups said that the government released 13 people jailed in a crackdown by the government of President Nicolas Maduro following last year's disputed elections. Venezuelan authorities did not immediately confirm the releases. Opposition leaders such as Henrique Capriles celebrated on social media, calling it a step forward for those behind bars. He said 8 people were freed, while 5 more were released under house arrest. It comes more than a year after the South American nation held presidential elections last July. Electoral authorities declared Maduro victor of the presidential elections, but refused to share key documents evidencing the count. The results were rejected by the international community and opposition members.
Protests in Britain over court order ousting asylum seekers from hotel.
Across Britain, protests have flared up after a court order that will oust asylum seekers from a suburban London hotel. Opponents and supporters of migrants faced off in several towns and cities over the weekend, as the government struggles to deal with unauthorized migration and housing asylum seekers. The government is hoping to appeal the High Court decision that inspired dozens of protests. The British government is legally obligated to house asylum seekers, with many currently in hotels. It says it plans to speed up asylum appeals that could lead to more deportations and clear a huge backlog of cases.
Moderator of online forum indicted for intimidating Core Pacific City prosecutors.
A man has been charged with intimidation and violation of the Personal Information Protection Act after he posted photos and personal information of prosecutors and judges involved in the Core Pacific City case. The man, Dai Ning, is a moderator of the Facebook forum where the photos were posted. Prosecutors say they're seeking a 7-month sentence for Dai. They add that they believe that Dai created the page and collected photos of judges involved in the case to post on the forum. He allegedly made the post in question after the death of the wife of former Taipei Deputy Mayor Peng Jiansheng, posting the titles, names, and photos of the 11 prosecutors involved in the case, which also read, "Remember their names and faces." A follower of the page also reposted the image, saying that there was a debt to be repaid, and prosecutors are seeking a 6-month sentence for her.
Taipei mayor congratulates Little League baseball team on victory.
Young Taiwan athletes have taken the trophy at the Little League World Series, besting baseball teams from around the world on their way to the championship. The Taipei City Department of Education says the Tongyuan team prevailed against teams from Mexico, the Caribbean, and Venezuela, then defeated the U.S. team with a score of 7-0 in the championship game in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The last time a Taiwan team won the Little League World Series was in 1996. Taipei Mayor Chang Wan-an praised the young players' hard work and team spirit.
Israeli forces kill 4 aid seekers.
Now turning to international news. Israeli forces shot dead 4 Palestinian aid seekers in the Gaza Strip, according to witnesses. The area where they were killed is regularly used to reach a food distribution point. This comes as Gaza City is now officially facing famine after having been bombarded for nearly 2 years. And Israel's military moves ahead with a planned offensive to seize the city. Local officials are also reporting 8 malnutrition-related deaths. Gaza City is now the focus of both a famine and Israel's looming offensive that could begin within days. Ukrainian veteran inspires intercontinental swim.
Ukrainian veteran inspires intercontinental swim.
On Ukraine's Independence Day, Ukrainian war veteran Oleg Tsarkovny and 2 other veterans completed an intercontinental swim across the Strait of Bosphorus. That's between Turkey's European and Asian shores. The veterans hoped to draw attention to the toll and devastation inflicted by Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Tsarkovny and the other 2 veterans trained for months with the support of a rehabilitation clinic. They also aimed to raise money for prosthetics, which remain urgently needed by many Ukrainian soldiers. They joined nearly 3,000 swimmers from 81 countries in the 6.5-kilometer swim. Hao Yuyi on KMT chairmanship.
Lai announces $18 billion in assistance for industries hit by tariffs.
President Lai Ching-te is announcing 18 billion NT in funding for the agricultural and fishing industries to lessen the negative impacts of U.S. tariffs. Those funds will address 3 key areas: financial support, strengthening industry competitiveness, and developing diversified markets. The president made the announcement after awarding several industry leaders for their achievements in their respective fields. In remarks, Lai noted that Taiwanese farmers and fishers face many challenges, including extreme weather and labor shortages, in addition to U.S. tariffs. Lai expressed his hope that the private and public sectors could work together to face these challenges.
UK passenger arrested at Taoyuan Airport with 14.37 kilograms of marijuana.
A UK national was arrested at Taoyuan International Airport for attempting to smuggle over 14 kilograms of marijuana into Taiwan. According to Taipei Customs, the man arrived from Bangkok on Friday night and refused to open his luggage during a random inspection before trying to flee. He was subdued by customs and aviation police officers. A later search of his suitcase uncovered the drugs. The case has been handed to the Ministry of Justice Investigation Bureau. Marijuana is a Category 2 narcotic in Taiwan, with trafficking punishable by up to life in prison and fines of 15 million NT. It was the fourth drug smuggling case at Taoyuan Airport since May.
NCCU Griffins win first Asian University Basketball League title.
The National Tsinghua University Griffins won the first Asian University Basketball League championship over China's Tsinghua University. They beat the Chinese team in Hangzhou with an 82-79 victory. After besting 12 teams from Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, and Mongolia, NCCU has dominated Taiwan's university men's basketball for 5 straight seasons. The Asian University Basketball League is the first pan-regional league for university teams across Asia. Officials say the league will plan to expand next season.
Israel strikes Yemen.
Now turning to international news. Israeli airstrikes have hit Yemen's capital Sana'a days after Houthi rebels fired a cluster bomb missile at Israel, their first since 2023. The strikes targeted an oil facility and a power plant controlled by the Iranian-backed group. Yemen's health ministry says the strikes killed at least 6 people, wounded over 80. The Houthis have launched missiles and drones at Israel and disrupted shipping in the Red Sea for nearly 2 years, saying they are acting in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. Israeli officials say Sunday's strikes were aimed at weakening the group's military ability, while the Houthis vowed to continue attacks until Israel ends its siege on Gaza. Trump admin aims to deport Abrego Garcia to Uganda.
Trump admin aims to deport Abrego Garcia to Uganda.
In the U.S., the Trump administration is aiming to deport a Salvadorian man to Uganda after the same man's case made headlines earlier this year when he was mistakenly deported to El Salvador, despite a judge's ruling that he faced danger there. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a legal resident of the U.S., could be sent to Uganda under a new U.S. deal with the country. Abrego Garcia spent months in a notorious prison in El Salvador due to what the Trump administration called an administrative error before being returned to the U.S. Now he faces human smuggling charges, which he denies. Officials said he could plead guilty to those charges and be deported to Costa Rica or be sent to Uganda. The case has sparked widespread condemnation of the Trump administration, as supporters call the case political retaliation, while immigration authorities say they're just enforcing the law. Thousands in California, Oregon, under evac orders.
Thousands in CA, Oregon, under evac orders.
And also in the U.S. Thousands across Northern California and Central Oregon are under evacuation orders because of wildfires in the area. Firefighters with helicopters are working to try to contain the fires in the dry, hot weather. Local officials in California say that one of the fires has burned about 26 square kilometers and is only 11% contained. Meanwhile, in Oregon, officials say another fire is not at all contained, spanning 75 square kilometers, and is threatening nearly 4,000 homes. Moderator of online forum indicted for intimidating core Pacific City.
NIA, Japanese men who raised Chinese flag in Ximen, deported.
The National Immigration Agency says it had already deported 2 Japanese nationals who visited Taipei's Xinmending to display a PRC flag and claim that Taiwan is a part of China. They say that's in accordance with the Immigration Act. This comes after posts on Threads revealed video showing the 2 men holding the Chinese flag, with one commenter saying that they reported the incident to officials. The NIA says they cooperated with other units to conduct an investigation into the 2 men. They added that the 2 entered Taiwan without a visa and decided that they posed a threat to Taiwan's sovereignty and security. One of the men left the country one day after he filmed the video in Ximen. Meanwhile, the other admitted to making the statements, and both have been barred from re-entry. Officials say one of the men is an online Japanese language teacher and the other is an influencer. The teacher admitted that his motivation for the stunt was to increase his online traffic and influence amongst his Chinese fans.
Suspected Chindian arsonist in a bad mood.
In New Taipei, Xindian police say that the man who allegedly set fire to a car in the district, hospitalizing 8, said that he was in a bad mood and confessed to the crime. The suspect, a 63-year-old surnamed Chen, allegedly drove his car to the site, parked in an alley between 2 apartment buildings, and lit a natural gas can on fire. Police received a call at nearly 3 a.m. last night about a fire and dispatched nearly 36 fire trucks and 70 personnel. They extinguished the fire just over half an hour later, but much of the second and third floors of the neighboring buildings had been burned. Officials say that residents of the neighboring apartment buildings were able to escape, although some of them were taken to the hospital as a precaution. The incident remains under investigation.
Taipei reviewing reports of illegal animal medicine sales online.
The Taipei city government is reviewing reports of illegal sales of animal medicines online. The city's Animal Protection Office says it has received 9 complaints about such cases on Facebook groups involving drugs for deworming, eye drops, and medicated shampoos, mostly for cats and dogs. The office warns that it is illegal to sell veterinary medicines online, and these products could be dangerous because their origins and sellers are unknown. They say sellers face fines of up to 450,000 NT.
Israel kills at least 8 in strike on hospital.
Now turning to international news. Israel has killed at least 8 in a strike on Gaza's main hospital. Officials say that those victims were killed in a double-tap strike, with one missile striking before another moments later as rescue crews arrive. The Nasser hospital has withstood raids and bombardment for nearly 2 years. Israeli officials have not responded to questions about the strikes. Indonesia and U.S. launched drills.
Indonesia and U.S. launch drills.
Indonesia and the United States are beginning their annual joint military drills, and this year they're bigger than ever. The Super Garuda Shield exercise brings together forces from 13 nations, including Japan, Australia, and the UK, with more than 6,500 troops participating. Indonesia says the drills aim to strengthen regional ties in what it calls an unstable global landscape. Analysts note that while Jakarta keeps strong economic relations with China, it's also quietly preparing for possible conflict in the South China Sea, where Chinese activity has raised alarm not only in Taiwan but across Asia. Lai announces $18 billion in assistance for industries hit by tariffs.
Taiwan deports Japanese TikToker over Taiwan belongs to China video.
Taiwan's National Immigration Agency has deported a Japanese social media influencer after a TikTok video in Taipei declared, "Taiwan belongs to China." The influencer, known as Hiroyuki Tanaka, was expelled Monday and banned from re-entry. Another content creator, Ira Tadomi, who co-starred in the video, had already left Taiwan, but is also barred from returning. 2 were filmed holding China's national flag at Taipei's Shimending Rainbow Landmark and making pro-China statements. Authorities said their actions violated immigration law by threatening public order and national interests.
American man indicted in Germany for allegedly offering to spy for China.
German prosecutors say an American man who worked at a U.S. military facility in Germany and allegedly offered to supply sensitive information to China has been indicted on espionage charges. The suspect was arrested in Frankfurt in early November. In an indictment sent to the state court in Koblenz earlier this month, he's charged with having declared his willingness to engage in espionage for a foreign intelligence service. He is accused of contacting Chinese authorities repeatedly in the summer of 2024 and offering to provide sensitive U.S. military information for Chinese intelligence. NIA, Japanese men who raised Chinese flag in Ximen deported.
Taiwan's exports to remain stable in second half of 2025, despite Trump.
Tariffs. TIR. The Taiwan Institute of Economic Research says U.S. tariffs are expected to have only a limited impact on Taiwanese goods. The think tank reported today that its manufacturing climate indicator rose in July, ending a 5-month decline, as concerns over tariffs eased and the Taiwan dollar weakened. Exports hit a record $56.7 billion USD in July, up 42% year-on-year, with growth driven by information and communication technology and AI-related products. Taiwan's export forecast for 2025 has been revised sharply upward to 23%. However, Tiers warned that reliance on AI exports to the U.S. could spark future trade friction. Meanwhile, Taiwan's domestic market remains sluggish, with weak car sales and falling retail numbers posing a bigger challenge than exports.